Khalil, one of her best friends since she was little, was shot by a police officer, a white police officer, and it shows her taking on that situation and finding her voice in that struggle. And while showing that, we see both sides of her and her ultimately overcoming it. His dad's a lawyer. His mum doesn't really work. She's off on holiday with her friends most of the time. He's got 2 older siblings who are older and have kids now, so he lives in this big mansion by himself. And then there's Starr, who he is very much in love with. And yeah, I feel like Chris has a certain longing of intimacy because he doesn't really have that family environment anymore, so I think he finds that in Starr. At the start, he didn't really understand, racism in that way. He was kind of blinded by it, and he understood it on an intellectual way, but once she'd opened up her world to him, I think it became more of, it opened his eyes. He does see color. Everyone sees color. If you don't see color, then you've got to be blind. But the reason why, what he means by that is he doesn't see color as a way to separate people. But him saying that is also, it also means that he doesn't understand her for who she is, because people are different, people grow up differently, and him saying that he doesn't see color means that he doesn't see her for who she is. I think it's necessary for everyone to be themselves, and I think it's also necessary for people to not just say, when it comes to understanding someone else, to not just say, I get it, or I understand. Because the reality of that is, if you're not in those person's shoes, you really don't understand. He is one of my favorite directors, I would say. It's the first director that I've worked with who's so involved and so passionate and wants to work through every single moment with us. He's very much an actor's director. Myself and Amanda did a lot of rehearsal time before the movie and got to know each other's characters and motives and stuff like that, which for me, I haven't been acting that long, and it was a new experience for me, and I loved it. I'm so excited for this film to come out. I think it's a very important story. It's a very important story for the world right now. It's a very sensitive place, and I think it's going to be very powerful, and I hope people can learn something from it, and I hope people can come out of that theater with a different mindset, because that's what we're trying to achieve.
The Hate You Give is about finding your own voice, is about speaking up, being heard, not being afraid to, if standing outside of the pack is what it takes, and being alone and saying what you have to say, if that's what it takes, not being afraid to do that. Also realizing that it's not so much about politics anymore, it's about people. It's about how we deal with each other. Fighting injustice, as always, whether it's in whatever type of situation it's in. We have also familiar things as dealing with the black neighborhood and all that, but it's not just about that. It's about a human problem, humanity, universal problem. So I feel like that's the important thing to get across. This is not just specifically targeting one group of people to go see it. This is everyone to go see it, because it's a universal message. I play Khalil Harris. Khalil is just a charming teenager. He's dealing with a lot of problems that are just handed to him, just the cards that he was dealt through life growing up in a certain neighborhood, a lower income neighborhood, which a lot of black teens do grow up in. The hate you give, the meaning of that, which was created by Tupac, Thug Life, means the hate you give little infants F's everyone. And I feel like that means, like Khalil broke down in the movie, what society feeds us as while we're kids, whatever that is, whether it's music, whether it's things that we see in our community, whether we see the older guys doing it so we think it's cool, whatever that is passed on to us, that's who we grow up and that's what we become. And a lot of times society look at certain groups of people and they say, why are they like this, or why do they act like that, or why can't they just be that? Well, since they were kids, this is what they've been given. This is the only thing that they've been introduced to. So you can't be mad at someone for just going off of pure familiarity. They have a great relationship, even though You know how you can have a friend and you may not talk to them for a long time, but when you see them, there's no love lost? That's how Starr and Khalil is. Whenever they rekindled, there was no love lost at all. It was just like, I miss you, you know? It was cool. What I admire about George Tillman is the time that he puts into detail. A lot of directors don't put a certain amount of hours that he puts into just fine-tuning every little detail and making sure every part sticks. What Amanda brought to this film, she brought just herself, authenticity. She brought who she really is. She tapped into any girl her age or any girl Starr's age in this culture. She really tapped into the mindset of them. I've seen her work her hardest to understand how these girls think. This film is just a reminder of no matter what age you are, no matter who you are, find your purpose, find what you're here for. Whatever you're here for, speak up and be heard. When audiences see this film, I hope it evokes thought. I hope it sits inside of the person. I'm not saying I want you to cry. Everyone will have their different reaction, but feel what's going on. Look at the bigger picture. See that if a 16-year-old girl can step out of her comfort zone and speak on something that she knows is important, that she knows is injustice, that she knows a lot of people get off with every day. If she can do that, you can step out of your comfort zone in whatever situation that you're in, whether it's with your parents, whether it's with your boss, your job, or whatever that is, and speak up about certain things that you see. If you see something that isn't right, speak up about it.
Hey, Vali here. So, are you a big movie fan? Well, stay with me as I have some cool random facts for you. Due to a miscommunication on set in The Hateful Eight, Kurt Russell accidentally smashed an antique guitar from 1870 instead of a prop. The dog who played Toto in The Wizard of Oz received a higher salary than most of the people who played Munchkins. And lastly, Michael Caine was so terrified of Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight that he forgot his lines in the first scene they shot together. Do you know any other cool facts? Let me know below. And remember, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. Bye bye!